In medieval times, the Roman Catholic Church believed that you could buy an indulgence, the sale of indulgences, and that meant if you wanted to do something that God would kind of just look the other way on, you could go commit a sin, which was forbidden, but if you went and bought an indulgence from the church, you could take that indulgence and say, well, God, I told you I was going to the club, and here is my ticket. I paid for my indulgence, whatever it was. And there were different prices, different levels of indulgences that you could buy. And so it depended on what kind of sin do you want to commit. Yeah, we'll negotiate with the church and with God about a sale so you can go and sin and the church can build its cathedrals. Amen, somebody. That sounds like transactional spirituality to me.
The coffer and the crown. The plaza was a septic pit of piety and panic. It stank of unwashed bodies, cheap incense, and the metallic tang of fear. From a crude wooden stage, a pardoner, his face slick with sweat and self-satisfaction, bellowed the holy algorithm. A coin's clatter is a soul's ladder. As it rings below, the spirit is freed to go. His voice was a whip, and the crowd flinched with every crack. Guilt was the currency, and the clergy were the money changers. A nobleman, his hands still stained with a rival's blood, purchased a clean conscience for a purse of gold. A merchant paid a premium for a future of fraud, his indulgence a holy insurance policy against damnation. The sacred seal of the church was not a mark of grace, but the brand of a predator stamped onto parchment that licensed sin. Every coin, wrenched from a starving family's grasp, was another stone for God's house. The great basilica clawed its way to the sky on a foundation of peasant misery. Its gilded spires drank the sunlight while the children in its shadow ate dirt. The mortar was mixed with the tears of the poor and the holy water of their fear. The pulpit was a stage for psychological warfare. Sermons were not gospels of love, but meticulously crafted catalogues of eternal torture. Hell was rendered in pornographic detail, the stench of burning flesh, the symphony of screams, the eternity of agony. Each indulgence was a temporary stay of execution, a dose of a drug that only made the addiction to hope more severe. The system did not save souls, it broke them. A blacksmith, his face grimed with soot and grief, laid his finest hammer on the collection table. "For my daughter," he rasped, his voice thick with unshed tears. She was only 6. The friar took the tool, the man's livelihood, and slid a slip of paper across the wood. The exchange was silent, swift, and utterly profane, a soul for a hammer. In a chamber draped in velvet and gold, a cardinal regarded the city through a pane of leaded glass. He saw the squalor, he heard the ringing coffers. This was not faith, he knew, but finance. It was herd management. Fear was the shepherd's crook, and salvation was the finest wool to be shorn. He raised a golden chalice to his lips and toasted the beautiful, profitable machine of God. Then a single hammer struck a different nail. A monk named Luther, his face a storm of righteous fury, nailed a challenge to the church door. Each blow was not just metal on wood, but an idea against an empire. It was the sound of a crack forming in the very foundation of the world, a gunshot in the cathedral of silence. The words became blades. Printed on cheap presses in back alley shops, the theses multiplied, spreading through the populace like a fever. A pamphlet read in a tavern had more power than a sermon from a pulpit. The machine of God, for the first time, heard the grinding of a new gear, the anger of the people. The empire struck back. The rebels were branded heretics, their pamphlets burned in pyres that mimicked the fires of hell they were threatened with. The machine did not break, it adapted. The language softened, the methods became more subtle, but the trade continued. The packaging changed, but the product, fear, remained the same. Centuries pass. The coin is now a credit card transaction, the parchment a tax-deductible receipt. The coffer is an offshore account. The fear is no longer of hellfire, but of meaninglessness, of being left behind. The bells still toll, the collection plates are still passed, and the soul is still weighed against the coin.
That is not the way that we worship God. We don't worship God with our giving because we're afraid, because we're trying to move God's hand. We worship in our giving out of a spirit of gratitude. That is a high vibration. I know that money flows to me and through me, and as I allow the blessing to flow through, I open up a portal where it perpetually flows to me and through me.